are the stories topping the news. Prime Minister Harris attends AGM of Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Guyana continues preparations for elections, and police officer arrested for shooting 14-year-old boy. Good afternoon and welcome to ZIZ's Midday Newscast for Wednesday, February 25th, 2015. I am JD Keynes. Now for a look at the news in detail. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris, is today addressing members of the St. Kitts Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce at the organization's annual general meeting, AGM. This afternoon's event, which takes the form of a luncheon and meeting, is being held at Nirvana's restaurant at Fairview Great House in Boyd's. ZIZ News spoke ahead of the meeting with Executive Director of the St. Kitts Nevis Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Calvin Cable, who said the organization will be electing a new board to serve for the next 12 months. Cable expects that approximately 100 persons from a wide cross-section of the business community will participate in the AGM. Among those who will be in attendance are CIC President Damian Hobson, who will seek re-election for another year, and Vice President Jose Rosa of Cajola Cristada. Yesterday, Tuesday, Senior Health Minister, the Honorable Eugene Hamilton, and Minister of State in the Ministry of Health, Honorable Wendy Phipps, accompanied representatives of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, on a tour of the Pogson Medical Center. Following the tour, ZIZ News spoke with Minister Hamilton, who underscored the importance of the use of renewable energy at the facility.
Well, I'm sure that you're aware that the entire world is going in the direction of renewable energy in support of almost everything, including healthcare. And certainly because fossil fuels and so on are so expensive, it is important for us to invest in renewable energy to provide the services that we need in our hospitals. So it's very important in St. Kitts and Nevis context.
The Pogson Medical Health Center was identified as one of 2 smart hospitals in the OECS, with the other located in St. Vincent. World-renowned scientist, author and pastor Dr. Pepe Ramnath is in St. Kitts this week to speak about the kingdom of God from a scientific perspective. Dr. Ramnath, a Trinidadian who now resides in the United States, has unique views on the Bible. During an interview with ZIZ News earlier today, he explained.
I'm here to do a conference on the topic of the kingdom. I believe it's a topic that every nation and every culture needs to hear, because when you go through the 4 Gospels in the Bible, you see Jesus keep repeating this one idea, or what we will call a philosophy. And this idea is about the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of God. So I'm here in an attempt to, through my training of science, to merge science and the Bible.
The nightly conferences will be held at the Apostolic Faith Church at 7:30 this evening, Wednesday and Friday. We turn our attention now to news on the regional scene. Guyana has moved a step closer to completing preparations for the May 11th, 2015 general and regional elections, with the swearing-in of the 10 returning officers who will manage the elections. We have the details in this report.
The swearing-in of the 10 returning officers who will manage elections in the 10 districts represents a major step forward in the preparations for the May 11th general elections. Some of them have worked in elections management before, said Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield.
They are very knowledgeable of the issues to be treated with, all those statutory issues to be treated with, and with guidance to be provided by us during the conduct. They will be the ones who will be carrying out the mandate of the Commission, and that is the efficient conduct of general and regional elections of 2015.
He said the returning officers will be guided by GCOM in every subset of their job.
Because you will be operating in separate districts and the geography of those districts differ, and sometimes significantly differ, we'll be working to ensure that, notwithstanding the geography, all material and other requirements required for the efficient conduct will be provided you so that you can do, as the chairman said, an excellent job.
GECOM Chairman Dr. Steve Surjbali congratulated the officers on their appointments.
You're the best that we have chosen of those that were available and those that took the training. Some of you would be the first time you're being returning officers. Others have done well in the past. I expect that you carry out that oath that you have just taken to such a degree that no one can fault us later on in the game.
The appointment of the returning officers comes as the Elections Commission is in the process of finalizing the final voters list.
In St. Lucia, the Department of Fisheries is making an appeal to members of the public not to eat fish that have been washing up on the banks of the Cock River. The department is currently investigating the discovery of a number of fish, both alive and dead, which began washing up near the river's banks last Thursday.
This bag full of fish was collected by employees of the National Conservation Authority who turned up for work Thursday morning at the Shock Beach. While cleaning up the beach, they discovered a number of fish that appeared to be stunned while others were dead. The fish were found at the mouth of the Shock River where it joins the sea.
When I went to the end, I saw a lot of fishes at the side and in the water swimming. So we start picking up some to bring to shore that the complex could come and identify if it's good or if it's not.
You know, it's the same thing we talk about, that persons are not supposed to drop these chemicals in the water, and I definitely believe it's something of the sort that happened. That's why so many of the fish are lying down the river and the sea side.
It would appear that the fish are actually from the river, so it's more than likely freshwater fish that are dying.
Upon discovery of the fish, the NCA workers immediately summoned officials of the Fisheries Department and other related agencies, and an investigation was immediately commenced. The probe took the investigating team to Union Industrial Estate, where discolored water led them to suspect that a chemical had been released into the drain, which feeds into the Shock River.
They are what we refer to as brackish water fish. Some of them include mullet, what we locally call mealy. We also notice some snook, as well as some tilapia, or what we commonly refer to as the Atkinson. We've noticed some fish up to approximately 2.5 to 3 pounds. So some very large fish appeared to have died for whatever reason, which at this time we cannot confirm what exactly has transpired.
The thing we could do at this present time is to carry out water quality testing above the drainage point we just sourced, where there is some grayish, reddish water coming off into the river. Also carrying out a water quality sample test below that source.
It's not the first time that chemicals released into the water that runs into Shock River have been blamed for the death of aquatic animals. Officials have appealed to members of the public to beware of consuming the fish, some of which weigh up to about 3 pounds. The investigation is continuing. For the DBS News World, I am Alex Busquet.
Internationally, a police officer in Venezuela has been arrested after confessing to shooting a 14-year-old boy with a rubber bullet during clashes with protesters in the city of San Cristobal.
A police officer in Venezuela has been arrested after confessing to shooting a 14-year-old boy with a rubber bullet during clashes with protesters. Local media reported that the boy's father was a member of a political opposition party. One eyewitness said she tried to help the injured teen and was ordered by police to leave him to them. She said, "I've marks on my arm from the police who didn't want me to help this child. It's not right." Why? Because after they shot him, they wanted to take him away. Why? I insisted. Because they didn't want to leave the evidence, she says. Officials said the boy died on the way to hospital in the city of San Cristobal. Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro had ordered a swift investigation of the incident and for those responsible to be held to account. He said, "I condemn this killing. I was in Trinidad when I heard and ordered the immediate investigation and capture of those responsible. That has been done and those responsible for this are in custody, he said. Tensions are running high in Venezuela because of a deepening economic crisis and a crackdown on the political opposition. The government changed its policy last month to allow officials use lethal force to control violent protests.
George Zimmerman, the former Neighborhood Watch volunteer who fatally shot black teenager Trayvon Martin in 2012, will not face federal charges, the Justice Department said on Tuesday. Attorney for the family Benjamin Crump says Martin's parents are heartbroken.
Trayvon's parents were heartbroken with this news, knowing that the killer of their child was never going to be held criminally liable for taking his life. But they remain steadfast and committed to preserving his legacy through the work of the Trayvon Martin Foundation, and that's what they're focused on. They're focused on trying to make something negative positive and try to prevent this from happening to anybody else's child. The head of the Civil Rights Division and the head of the Criminal Division of the Department of Justice came and met with them at the Miami FBI office, and met with them an hour going through the investigation and why they made the decision not to bring federal criminal charges against George Zimmerman for killing Trayvon Martin. I think that unfortunately the whole matter is just wrong. As Sabrina Fulton said, an adult follows and kills a child and nothing happens to him. It's just a terrible thing that should have never happened. And as it relates to bringing federal criminal charges, there's a high standard, a high bar. And we knew going in that it was a great chance that they wouldn't bring any charges. But for Trayvon's parents to get that news was very, very difficult today. Well, they were dignified and graceful, but it was just painful. And they just hearing it was painful for them.
We turn now to the weather. Temperatures today will reach a high of 25 degrees Celsius. Winds will be east to southeast at 9 miles per hour. On land, reaching 18 miles per hour over open waters. Skies will be sunny to partly sunny with brief passing showers. Tonight, conditions will be mostly fair to partly cloudy with little or no showers. Sunset for today is expected at 6:16 p.m. And that wraps up ZIZ's Midday Newscast. Join us this evening when we'll have the details to these stories and more in our major newscast. I have been your presenter, JD Keynes. Have a great afternoon.